Wait, forks cost money now? Yeah, and Isaiah's making a fortune off of it. So here's what happened. At this one school, it was a pretty small school. In their lunchroom, they used real forks. Well, these forks started to go missing. Like every day, kids are accidentally tossing them out, leaving them on the ground, or straight up taking them home. Finally, the lunch lady snaps. That's it, new rule. Forks cost 50 cents. If you want one, you pay, and you better return it. Basically, it's a rental fee for your fork. Well, this kid named Isaiah, he sees an opportunity. The next day, he pulls up to lunch with a backpack full of Costco plastic forks. One fork, 25 cents. Two for 40 cents. Tell your friends. It spreads fast. He's got bundles, different colors, custom sizes, some with graphics on them that he calls limited edition. Yo, let me get 2 SpongeBob forks for my ravioli. Say less. The cafeteria staff notices this, and the principal steps in. Are you running an unauthorized utensil ring in my cafeteria? Well, sir, I'm just providing students with a better utensil option. We're making pretty good money, too. He gets written up, they confiscate his inventory, and by Friday, the cafeteria stops charging for forks. But that never actually fixed the problem, because kids were still taking these forks home or accidentally throwing them away. Hey, what can you do? What can you do? Head up, do you have your nap slip? My what? So this school had a rule. You were not allowed to put your head down on a desk unless your parents signed a literal nap permission form. Like it was a frickin' field trip or something. So this is the type of stuff that would happen. Like one day, this kid named Noah, he got himself a pretty bad headache. He's not faking it, he's not being dramatic, he's just tired and his head is pounding. He lowers his head on his arms for like 2 seconds and the teacher is on him. Hey, head up unless you have the slip. You're kidding me, right? Nope, it's a classroom policy. And for that day, she marked him down as non-participating, and he got a bunch of points taken off. Well, his grade drops, and he's pretty upset by this. This teacher's pretty stubborn, so he's trying to figure out ways to beat her, but he decides ultimately to just follow the rules. He was gonna follow the rules in an awesome way. He went home to his parents. He had his parents create him a nap participation slip. The slip was laminated and it had a lanyard around it. So he comes back with that signed, laminated, customizable nap permission slip. Boom, miss. Certified for the rest of the year. For the rest of the year, whenever he wanted to put his head down or he wasn't feeling too well, he would just pull out a slip and slam it on the desk. Okay. I got clearance, miss. Super weird rule, super weird teacher, but I guess that kid's a legend. I don't know. Well, why is Tyler working in the hallway? Because democracy is brutal. So this one teacher had a rough week. The class was loud all week, no one listened to her, it was a total chaos week. Friday comes around and instead of teaching, she says, clearly something's wrong with this class dynamic, so let's fix it. She pulls out a stack of paper slips, passes them around, and says, I want each of you to write down the name of the student that you think is holding back this class. Be honest. Kids start looking around. They're confused. And don't worry, this will be anonymous. They all write quietly. Slip by slip, she collects them, throws them into a box. Then she starts reading them out loud. Tyler, 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 sometimes Emma, but mostly Tyler. Tyler again. By the 10th one, Tyler's head is just on his desk. He can't believe this. Well, Tyler, it looks like your classmates think you're the issue. You have anything to say to that? He doesn't. Okay, so Monday you'll be sitting in the hallway during class, doing solo work until further notice, and the rest of the class just stared at him because Tyler had been quite literally democratically voted out of the class. That is actually insane. No snack, no participation points. But it's my birthday. This one teacher at this one school made a new rule. If your birthday falls on a school day, you have to bring a snack for the entire class. No exceptions. It didn't matter if your family couldn't afford it. It didn't matter if you forgot. If you didn't bring snacks, you would get your participation points docked for the whole week. And the teacher would call you out in front of everybody. So this one kid, Tyler, it's his birthday and it's a Tuesday. He doesn't bring anything. And the teacher just lights him up. Oh, no snacks for your friends, huh, Tyler? How selfish are you? The whole class is just staring at him. And Tyler's just sitting there. I didn't even ask to be born. 2 days later, it's this girl Chloe's birthday. She felt bad for Tyler. And she came in that day and she followed the rules. Technically. She walks in with a sandwich bag full of Tic Tacs. 1 Tic Tac for each kid, individually handed out. For my beloved classmates, I brought you all a snack. Enjoy the feast. Class is dying. People are clapping. Teacher's trying to hold it together, but you can see the vein popping in her face. Okay, I see. You're making fun of me. You think this is a joke. It's okay. The whole class just starts mocking this teacher and the rule and praising Chloe for this hilarious kind of stunt she pulls. The teacher just snaps. Fine. You know what? Birthday snacks are canceled. Forgive me for trying to make everyone's birthday a fun time. I honestly can't believe you guys. Get over it. What a wild thing for a teacher to do. It's their birthday, yet they're getting in trouble if they don't bring snacks in. Get out of my face. You kids need to be more responsible. You first. In this one class, late homework gets you an immediate 0. No excuses, and this teacher was brutal about it too. If you can't turn it in on time, you fail. Life doesn't give you extensions, kids. And the thing is, she assigned homework all the time. You know, every week, new homework, the kids would turn it in, but then, listen to this, but then, nothing. No feedback, no grades, nothing gets returned to them. Well, one day, this kid named Johnny, he kinda snaps. Hey miss, just wondering, if life doesn't give you extensions, where's all of our graded homework from the last month? Excuse me, I'm very busy, Johnny. I have a life too, you know. Can't believe you. Well, you know what? Maybe you should finish your homework before you hand us out more, you hypocritical... Office? Now. That's fine, but I'm gonna tell Mr. Stevens that he should probably have a look inside your gradebook. Okay, bye. Funny enough, by the next morning, the student portal of that class had been completely updated. She had graded everything. And during class the next day, she changed the late work policy. Oh, the water fountain smells like a dead animal. Let me see. One time at this one middle school, the janitor was deep cleaning the cafeteria, and I guess he found a dead goldfish, like a full-on carnival prize goldfish floating in the mop bucket. Nobody knows how it got there, and for some reason, I'm not making this up, he shoves the goldfish down the drain of the water fountain. Like, just shoves it, jams it in there, and he just leaves it. And the next day, the water fountain starts spraying water that smells, well, fishy. Smells horrible. Kids are gagging in the hallways. Teachers are covering their mouths walking to class. Yo, what is that smell? The admin of the school think it's a sewage pipe that burst. They call the county. They have someone come out. They shut down half the school by lunchtime. Meanwhile, one 6th grader starts taking empty water bottles and is bottling the water of this fishy fountain. And he starts selling it for $1 a bottle. He's calling it limited edition bottled school water, and kids are buying it just to dare each other to drink it. It was wild. He only made like $10, but still, you gotta respect the hustle on that, I guess. Anyway, they eventually decided to replace every single water fountain in that school. And after some investigating, they found a mushy, nasty, dead goldfish. And they had no idea what happened for the longest time, till one day that janitor confessed. That's the craziest story I've ever heard. Yo, did they lock the vending machine? Yeah, after what happened to Steven. What happened to Steven? So this kid Steven, 7th grader, he's got a total sweet tooth. Well, one day during lunch, he brings like $15 in change, dumps it in the vending machine, and he goes to town. 6 honey buns, 2 Pop-Tarts, and a pack of powdered donuts. Back to back to back to frickin' back. Now a teacher walks by and says, "Hey, that's a lot of sugar, buddy." It's my money and it's my stomach. 2 periods later, Steven is in PE and he's running laps when suddenly he stops dead in his tracks. Hands on knees, face pale, and then he pukes everywhere. Like a full cinnamon glaze explosion all over the gym floor. Janitor shows up unfazed. Because, of course, janitors are frickin' awesome. Well, after that, the principal has a full-on panic attack. The school blames the vending machines. The next morning, padlocks are on both machines, all the snacks have been taken out, and there's a sign there. Until further notice, snacks are suspended. Now kids are furious with Steven, like he's a frickin' honey bun villain. Every time Steven walks down the hallway. "Thanks a lot, Steven. Really could've used a Pop-Tart today, man. Screw you." Tried to apologize, but it was too late. Once the snacks had gone, there was no coming back. Poor kid, you're gonna regret this. Get out of my class. So this kid sprains his leg during soccer practice. Doctor gives him crutches, a note, clear instructions, but his teacher, she never liked him. She thinks he's dramatic, thinks he's lazy. He walks into class on crutches, and she just stares at him. "You don't need those, stop milking it." He tries to explain, but she just cuts him off. "If you want attention, do it on your own time. Give me those." She takes his crutches and locks them into a cabinet. He stares at her, calm, and just says, "You're gonna regret this." And for the rest of the day, he walks all day on his hurt leg. He doesn't ask for help, he's not complaining. He's limping, he winces, but he keeps moving. Well, that night, his leg is on fire. The next morning, he's back at the doctor. It's worse now. He has a hairline fracture because he was walking on it so much, because the teacher took his crutches. Oh, it's about to get bad for this teacher. The next morning, he walks into class again, with crutches, a medical boot now, and another doctor's note. He doesn't sit. He doesn't yell. Just stands in front of the whole class and says, "So I watched the rest of the day like you told me to?" Well, turns out that refractured my injury. I'll be on crutches another 6 weeks now, so thank you for that. The whole class is silent. She tries to speak, but the door opens and the principal walks in. "Hi, Miss Harding. I need to speak with you. Please bring your things." She freezes. Then she grabs her stuff and heads towards the hallway. And she walks out. She doesn't come back the next day. Or the day after that. She was fired. Karmasm. You wrote her up for being sad? She was off task. She was human. You should try it sometime. So this girl's having a rough week. Family stuff, friend drama, just life. She sits down in third period, math class. Doesn't say a word, just starts doing her warm-up problems, but tears are falling from her eyes. Quiet and soft. The teacher then walks over to her. "Hi, do you need to go to the nurse? Or are you gonna disrupt my class all period?" The girl doesn't respond. She just wipes her face and keeps writing. All right, disruption it is. She writes her up, a full-blown referral. Disruption to learning environment. Ignoring teacher. She then sent her out into the hallway. Not the counselor, not the nurse, to the hallway. And told her to stay there. Later, she shows her mom the slip. "Oh my God, sweetie, this is not okay. They punished you for having feelings?" The next morning, the mom shows up to the front office. She then walks to the classroom. Class has already started. The teacher looks up. "Oh, so crying is disruptive now? You ever heard of empathy, or did they leave that out of your training?" "This isn't the time or the place." "No, I think it is. You humiliated my daughter for feeling something, and you made it public when you wrote her up in front of the entire class." The students are dead silent. Some of them on the edge of their seat like they're watching a freaking courtroom drama. "Print a new referral, this time with your name on it. Come on, sweetie, let's go." And she takes her daughter home for the rest of the day. Please tell me y'all don't have teachers like this, because that's messed up. I ate half my meatloaf, but she said it wasn't enough. So one day this kid goes through the lunch line. He gets his lunch tray, meatloaf, peas, chocolate milk, all that stuff, which meatloaf for lunch is crazy, but anyway. He eats a little bit of it, obviously it's not that great, so he throws it in the garbage. But a lunch monitor sees this happen and walks over, like she caught him shoplifting. "You're wasting school resources. If you're not gonna eat, don't take food." I wasn't hungry." "Well, next time you're eating alone." She writes him up on the spot, and the next day he has lunch detention. He walks in expecting to be alone, but there's another kid already sitting there. Very similar story. He didn't finish his corn and got written up by the same lunch monitor. Both of them go home that day and tell their parents. And the parents, they do not take this lightly. Calls get made, emails are sent. Apparently, this lunch monitor has been doing this all year. Punishing kids for not cleaning their trays, for not eating every last bite. By the end of the week, she is pulled from the lunchroom. Next week, there's another lady taking her spot. New lunch monitor and a totally better vibe. From then on, if you weren't hungry, you could just throw your food out. What a concept. That lady's insane. Participation is 40% of your grade. This teacher had one rule. If you didn't speak out loud during class, in every class, you would lose points. Didn't matter if you turned in everything. Didn't matter if you tried. If you didn't raise your hand and talk, she would dock you. And one kid, let's call him Aaron, he was trying. He had anxiety. He hated talking in class, but he tried. "Miss, I know I don't talk much, but I listen and I do the work and I work hard." "Well, that's not how life works, Aaron. If you want a grade, you gotta speak up." Aaron didn't like this, so he started tracking everything. Every time he raised his hand, he wrote it down. Every time he raised his hand and got skipped, he wrote that down. Every time the same 3 loud kids dominate every conversation, he wrote that down as well. Everything was getting documented by Aaron. Well, grades are updated, and his is a C. The reason? Non-participation. The next day, he stays after class. "Hey, I saw my grade. You need to speak more, Aaron, I told you." "Well, you need to stop ignoring me. Or fix your rule, because look at this." He drops a folder on her desk. Pages, timestamps, dates, secret selfies of him actually raising his hand. "You say it's about participation, but I've been trying. I've been participating. This system doesn't make any sense. There are days where you just don't call on me." you can go. And he leaves. He thought that he got nowhere with that. But the next week, his grade was silently changed to an A. I think he actually got to that teacher. Because honestly, when I was in school, I hated that type of rule as well. People learn differently, and people participate differently. You gotta respect all of it. Alright boys, time to confess your sins. I just want to play Mario Kart. So one time, this kid got invited to a sleepover, and it was pretty normal until bedtime. At exactly 9 p.m., this mom walks into the kid's room with a clipboard, big smile, and she says, "Okay, boys, time to log your sins for the day." This kid thought she was joking. No. She passes out worksheets to the two kids. The top of the page says daily sin accountability. Bro, what if I didn't sin today? Everybody sins every day. Just think of something. So they're sitting there. This kid's half asleep. His friend is writing very jubilantly, like this is a normal thing for him, because it is. This mom does this to them every night. And he's there just trying to think of what's going on. So he's writing stuff like, took the last Pop-Tart, thought about punching Gavin today, laughed when Gavin fell off the couch. It was a full confession session, and the mom was taking notes. And if you forgot something, she would help you. Did you think anything bad today at all? I am right now. What? Nothing? They weren't allowed to go to bed until the mom was convinced that they had every sin accounted for. The next morning, he woke up and he noticed that the mom had put their sins on the fridge, like a leaderboard. He never went to that house ever again. And honestly, I wouldn't either. That's freaking creepy. As your president, I will eat this banana. So this kid, let's call him Luke. He's in 8th grade, zero political ambition, and zero cares about school elections. One day after gym, his friend is like, "Bro, you should run for class president." Why? I don't know, because nobody else is. Turns out, sign-ups were closing that day, and nobody else decided to run. So Luke being Luke, he goes to the front office and he puts his name down. The next day, the announcements come on. Class elections this Friday, we have Luke, just Luke is running for president. And everyone just starts clowning this whole situation. People are making campaign posters, vote for Luke, or don't, it doesn't matter, he'll still win. Or Luke 2024, bare minimum effort. And he's leaning into it. He's wearing a wrinkled suit jacket to school, making campaign videos of him eating Lunchables in silence. Well, finally election day hits, and obviously Luke is elected to be the class president. And there's a little assembly at the end of the day. Well, Luke walks up to give a victory speech. He walks up to the mic, he's holding a banana like it's a trophy, peels it halfway, and he just starts eating it into the mic. The whole cafeteria is losing it, even the teachers are laughing. The principal's standing there, just trying to act like this is normal. Okay. And just like that, Luke is the official class president. He doesn't even know what his frickin' duties are. Well, the next week, the school council handed him a binder that said, School Student Government Responsibilities. And it was thick, like 3 inches thick. Meetings, proposals, school fundraiser events. Luke just looked at it, and that's when it hit him. He definitely made a massive mistake. This is everything. God. Yo, I think the cap fell off the milk. Oh, we always keep it like that. It's so the milk can breathe. I'm not drinking that. It was this dude's first time visiting his friend's house, and everything seemed normal for like 5 seconds, you know. He walks into the kitchen and he notices that there are no lids on anything. No cap on the milk, no lid on the orange juice. Peanut butter jar open, the soap bottle open. Hey, you guys forgot to put the lids back on, everything. Nah, bro, my mom says lids trap bad energy. Everything's gotta breathe, even the milk. Especially the milk. He watches in horror as his friend pours himself a glass of milk from the open jug. He sits down for dinner, and he notices this kid's mom is bringing over a jar of spaghetti that's been sitting out on the stove all day without a lid, and earlier in the day he saw flies around it. She notices this kid's uncomfort. Oh, don't worry, sweetie, this is all still good. It just had to breathe all day. At one point, he looks over to the kitchen counter and he sees the dog licking the butter that's sitting on the open butter tray. Hey, what? And nobody's saying a word about it. Throughout the entire meal, he's pushing his food around, pretending that he's eating it, but he's not gonna touch this stuff. And everybody else is chowing down like it's a Thanksgiving meal. After that, he always gave an excuse whenever he was invited back to that house. Oh, sorry, my mom said I can't, leave the house on Tuesdays. Because to him, one visit to the no-lid house was enough for a lifetime. Yeah, I agree. He punched the teacher. Why? To get out of a quiz. So there was this one history teacher, ex-military, dude was jacked. He biked 10 miles to school every morning, kept an ab roller in the corner of the room, ate beans and spinach for lunch. Dude was built like a protein bar. One day, he gives the class a pop quiz. Groans everywhere. That's when Jeff, the biggest kid in class, he was a football lineman, literal boulder with a backpack, he raises his hand. If I can punch you in the stomach and make you flinch, can we all get 100s on the pop quiz? Room goes silent, the teacher's staring at him, and he nods. Deal. He stands up, folds his arms behind his back, everyone gets out of the way. Jeff steps forward, winds up, and absolutely drills the teacher in the stomach. The teacher doesn't flinch, doesn't move, he just breathes and says, "Quiz stays. Take your seat, everybody." And that was it. Jeff became the kid that punched the teacher, and the teacher became the guy you'd never mess with. I'm not gonna say it again. One more sound out of you, Jason, and you're out of here. So one day in class, two kids are in the back of the classroom and they're whispering to each other. I told my cat that she's so funny when she does that. Dude, I have so much milk left over from last night. Suddenly, the teacher slams her hand on the desk and says, "Jason, that's enough." The whole class freezes, but here's the thing, Jason wasn't even talking. He's sitting there mid-pencil stroke like, huh? I'm not gonna say it again. One more sound out of you, Jason, and you're out of here. Now, a bunch of people saw who was actually whispering, but nobody said a word. Well, Jason takes the L in silence. The next day, there are some class presentations. Well, Jason walks up, he connects his slideshow, and slide 1 appears on the projector. The danger of classroom injustice. Oh boy, here we go. Then Jason starts reading from a flashcard. Let the record show, yesterday I was falsely accused of whispering. I was not whispering. I was taking notes. I was the victim. Slide 2, confirmed witnesses. He lists 3 classmates, first and last names, alphabetical order. Next slide, actual culprits. The final slide. And all I ask is for truth to matter again. Boom, presentation done. He gets a standing ovation. Even the teacher's smiling and laughing, and he gets a B+ on that assignment. The teacher then apologizes for accusing him of something he did not do. Respect. Hey yo, what's your name? Why? Just answer the question, man. So at this one high school, there's this senior named Jordan, and he's not just popular, he's influential. Like, if he were to wear pajama pants to school one day, the next day, half the school would also be wearing pajama pants. If he calls you something in the hallway, people would hear it, and that's your name now, and he knows that. Hey, your name? Emily? Cool, that'll be $5. What? You can pay me $5, or I pick something else. You'll pick a different name for me, like what? You don't want to find out. At first, people think he's joking, until one poor kid refuses to pay, and is known as Meat Wallet for the rest of the semester. Even the sub called him that one day. After that, everyone started paying. Yo, did you get a name yet? Yeah, I paid him yesterday. I'm Connor now. But your name is Connor. Exactly. Thank God I paid him. By homecoming, he made over $200. One kid's name is still Pockets, and no one knows why. This was a pretty small town school, so that's probably why something like this was flying around. But in the end, he wasn't just selling names. He was selling protection from pure humiliation. Weird hustle, but I respect it. So you're all just gonna roast me? It's called growth, sweetie. This one mom had a rule for birthdays. No cake, no presents, not until after the truth session. Every year, the birthday kid had to sit in the middle of the living room, while each family member, siblings, parents, sometimes even grandma, went around and shared one thing they did not like about the birthday kid. You interrupt too much. You always finish the milk and leave the carton in the fridge. I hate you, grandson. It was a roast, but it wasn't funny. One year, this kid Daniel, he turned 11. He walked into the living room already nervous. All right, let's begin. First up was his little sister. You yelled at me when I was on your Minecraft world. Then his mom. You've gotten lazy with your posture this year. Then Dad. You've been selfish lately, son. Just think about that. Daniel's eyes start to water. Oh no, don't cry. This is to help you, not to hurt you. You may have your cake now. Go. And he barely touched the cake. The next year, Daniel pretended to be sick on his birthday to try to get out of this whole thing. But the mom just moved the truth session to his room, and they did it bedside. They said it was character building. He said it was the worst tradition of his life. Yo, Evan, can you do my homework for me? Yeah, 2 Kit Kat bars and you got a deal. This kid Evan was scary smart. Math, history, science, it didn't matter. He would get A's on everything, and he offered a service. If you needed your homework to be done, you would bring him candy, and that was that. He would do your homework. Yo, can you do my science worksheet for me? Bring me 3 Reese's cups and a Gatorade, and you got a deal. Perfect. And Evan didn't just do the homework, he did the homework perfectly. better than anyone could have done themselves. And word spread fast. By the end of the month, Evan had a stash of candy and drinks in a huge duffel bag that he kept under his bed. Snickers, Reese's, Airheads, Skittles, Gatorades, Monsters. Like, he had everything. It was way too much for just him to eat. So, he got another frickin' idea. You guys, this is how it works. You gotta follow these ideas, people. Anyway, at lunch, he starts selling the candy that he was given for doing kids' homework. And the price would depend on what candy he was selling. Like Reese's were more money, maybe like $2. Snickers were like $1. Gatorades were $1.50. He had a whole menu and he had them all priced out. And remember, this is pure profit. He didn't pay for this candy. Bro, why is Evan always eating Chick-fil-A for lunch now? Oh, it's because his business blew up. He's running both the candy and the homework market. He's killing it. Hey, what's up, Evan? What's up, buddy? Meanwhile, teachers started to get kind of suspicious, I guess. Not because of the candy or anything, but because all the kids in their class were like getting A's on every assignment now. Even the kids that were horrible at the subject. So many A's lately. Maybe I'm doing a good job. Or maybe Evan is just one hell of a businessman. Evan stayed clean. You know, he never got caught. And before you all say, well, if he didn't get caught, how do you know about this? Well, because he told me himself. And by the end of the year, he made over $700 from selling candy that he didn't even pay for. You gotta respect the hustle. What is this? Oh, you weren't supposed to see that. So this one teacher, she always had a little black notebook on her desk. Said it was for classroom notes. Everybody assumed it meant grades or it was like a behavior log. No one thought twice, but it wasn't that. It was a burn book. Straight up page after page, trashing her students, all by name. One kid was labeled future con artist. One was fifth period manipulator, crybaby. One entry said, can't read social cues. Parents are either clueless or stupid. Like real crazy stuff. And nobody knew until parent-teacher conferences. One mom is sitting down at the teacher's desk for the meeting. The teacher had been flipping through some papers before and left the tiny little notebook open without even realizing it. She gets up and she says, "One second, I think I left your son's quiz folder in the copy room. I'll be right back." She leaves. The mom's sitting there, waiting. She glances at the teacher's desk, and she sees her kid's name at the top of a page of a tiny notebook. Manipulative, fake with adults, should be bullied, total snake? What is this? She flips a page, another student, then another. Just tons of students being roasted in this little notebook by the teacher. She goes to the hallway and flags the parents in who are waiting for their time slot for the conference. By the time the teacher walks back in, all these parents are huddled around her desk reading this little black notebook. She was caught, red frickin' handed. All the teacher could say was this: conferences are over. She grabs a little notebook, puts it in her purse, and she leaves the room. And suddenly that teacher is on leave. And she's the stupid one, because the moment you write stuff down like that, you better be prepared for somebody to read it. And they did. That's nuts. Wait, are we friends, or am I just your study guide? What? So this girl's like super smart. She's always making group projects super easy. She shares her notes, she always helps her friends study, and she doesn't complain. But one day she noticed something. Nobody texts her unless it's about school. Nobody invites her to anything. Nobody asks her how she's doing. Just stuff like, hey, what's the answer to number 4? Can you send me the notes, please? Hey, do you have the homework from yesterday? But then she realized the group chat she's in with all her friends, they only ever talk about the homework. And she finds out that there's a separate group chat that she's not even in. She didn't even get invited to Kayla's birthday party. The next day at lunch, she sits down with her group of friends. She looks them all in the eye and she says, quick question, who here knows my birthday? Or my mom's name? Or my dog's name? Or my middle name? Dead silence. One girl mumbles, isn't your birthday like December 25th? That's Christmas Day. And no. Oh, I love Christmas. The girl then stands up and says, well, you guys can figure out your own homework answers, study help on your own, okay? I'm out and I am done with all of you. Fine, we don't need you. Except they definitely did. After that day, they kept blowing up her phone when they needed homework or test help, and she just ignored it. Screw those friends. She made a new group of friends that actually appreciates her for who she is. Hey, you coming to gym class? Nah, man, I got court. Wait, what? This kid, 7th grade, shows up to school one day in a full-blown suit. Tie, dress shoes, everything. He's carrying a briefcase, everyone's confused, and he just goes, I got court during gym class today. Turns out, this kid started a full-blown student court system. He printed a summons, he made a self-made courtroom in the corner of the library, and he even made a logo. Every charge was student-related. Chewing annoyingly with your mouth open, cutting the lunch line, stealing pencils, and you could plead guilty or go to trial. State your case. She skipped me in line. Do you have any witnesses? Yes, Your Honor, 5 of them. People start requesting trials for dumb stuff. The teachers hear about it, and they think it's absolutely hilarious. Until one day, this kid was messing around and tried to summon the principal to court. For what? For having a terrible haircut. Yeah, the principal didn't take this very well, and he obviously shut it down right then and there. In total, this kid held 17 court cases. I don't know where he got out of all this, but it's honestly genius. B minus? That's just a B in a tuxedo. Oh, what? So this kid turns in an essay. He gets it back a few days later. A minus. Solid, clean grade. He's feeling good until he gets in the car and shows his mom. Why is it not an A plus? I don't know, it's still an A. An A minus is just a fancy B. You're rewriting it. So that night, he rewrites the entire thing. Adds more quotes, changes the intro, tightens everything up. Next day, he turns it in again. The teacher's confused, but she said she'll take a look at it. 2 days later, the same results. Still an A minus. He shows his mom. You are doing it again. You're joking, right? Not until you get 100. Fix your tone, fix your grammar, and fix your mindset. He rewrites it again, turns it in. This is the 3rd version. And the teacher pulls him aside. Hey, why do you keep resubmitting this? Your paper was excellent. I know. I'm just trying to survive, ma'am. She gives him the exact same grade, A minus again. He turns it into his mom. She just sighs and says, I give up. You must have done something wrong. And that's the day he learned. Sometimes it's not about the grade. It's about your mom's permanent disappointment. Poor kid. Miss, how are we supposed to know when it's due? You just are, okay? This one teacher was brutal. She wouldn't post due dates for anything. She wouldn't write instructions. She would just say it once out loud and expect you to remember everything. And if you didn't hear it or you missed the information, that sounds like a you problem, doesn't it? One day she assigns a huge project. She explains it once, she talks fast, there's no visual, no handout. And this one kid, he raises his hand. Wait, how are we supposed to, Josh, were you listening? Yeah, but then why are you asking? No one knows when it's due, what it's supposed to look like. It's total confusion. One person thinks he remembers the due date, one person remembers it differently. It's a mess. And from that moment on, Josh decides he's going to record everything this teacher says every single day, without her knowing. 2 weeks later, half the class gets zeros on this other project. There's no excuse for this, you guys. I told you exactly how I wanted it. Josh raises his hand. Actually, you didn't. Excuse me? He takes out his phone, fiddles with his recordings for a second, and then he presses play. It was her whole explanation for this project. It was loud, it didn't make any sense, and she was mumbling for half of it. So basically, it's gonna go on a big piece of paper or, like one of those things, and then you're gonna make sure that you get everything down from the chapter, I think it was 9. Maybe it's 11, but put it all on. Hey, guys, quiet. All right, that's it. Let's move on. So are we all really getting zeros, or are you gonna give us the instructions again? The next day, she handed out a printed rubric for that project, and she gave everyone a second chance to do it. And from that day forward, she always had printed out instructions for every single assignment and project. Yeah, as she should.
Montu! Hey, Montu! Hey, Montu! আমি তো অনাথ হয়ে গেছি গে একেবারে মনে করেন আমার বাপে আমারে এটা কেমন বাট পারি হ্যাঁ তোমার আব্বা না খুব কান্দানি আমারে কইছিল কাশি খাও আমারে আরে বললা সকাল সকাল তুমি আয়া পড়ছো চিল্লা কেমতে
কি হইছে হ্যাঁ আর থেকে আমনে পর দেখে দেখতেছি ফোনের পিছে লাগা রইছো
বাজান তোরা আরেকটা বুদ্ধি দিতাছি
কি হইছে বাবার কি
তুমি যদি একটা মাস পরে আইতা তাহলে দেখতা আমার আব্বা আনাম খাসিটা পাকে তোমার সামনে রেখা দিত
খানদান নাকি খানদান কো চিনা লাগে নাকি চোখ বন্ধ করে হারবার পাচ্ছি আয়া পড়ছি
দরকার স্যার আমি কি ফোনে কথা কই নাকি এই এটা খায়রা কি করতাছো যাও না নিচে যাও তুই যে বাজার
কি হইছে এই সব আমি পারুম না আমার দরকার হলো ঘর
আচ্ছা যা হবার হইছে বুঝছো
সারা দিন যে ধকলটা গেছে গা নিচে ঘুমা
আইজ নামনের বাসুর ভাই আপনি
আপনার ঘরে
তুমি তো আমার পিলা চমকাই দিচ্ছ বাবা
কি যে কন্যা আব্বা মাত্র তো আসমানে চাঁদ লাগা
কিন্তু তুমি তো বিয়ার পর দিনই আইয়া হাজির তো রসনটা একটু চেঞ্জ হইছে আর কি
যখন আসমানের চাঁদ লয়া এরকম বাসর ঘরে আহে তখন রাজা বাচ্চা গুলা হান
তুমি এই পোশাক কখনই চেঞ্জ করে আইবা নালে কইলাম আমি তোমার আমার লগে থাকতে দিব না আইসা আলগা খানদানি রেওয়াজ দেখে
তোমার কত বড় সাহস, তুমি আমার মাথায় বাড়ি দিবা? এই আমি কি করছি? বাজান কি এইটা কাম করছে নি? আপনার মতো হীরার টুকরা একটা পোলারে লাথি দিয়ে বাইর করে দিচ্ছে।
দিমু একটা ঠুয়া, আমি পারুম না। এই বেটা, এই আমগো খানদানে পূর্বপুরুষেরা
তো কি টিপে পড়লা?
লাগলে হেরাও টিপা দিমু তুমি বরং আমার হাতটা ব্যথা করতেছে হাতটা টিপা দাও
আরে এখানে হান্দাবার লাগছস কে? একটু ওদিকে নে না। তোমার বিছানা আমি ভিজায়া দিছি গা।
এটা তুমি কি করছো?
কি করছি, ঘুমাইবা না?
তোমার গো পূর্বপুরুষের মাথায় কি সমস্যা ছিল আব্বা?
আবার নাটকের পর কয় কি শুনছো? ওই বেটা
আব্বা জান আপনার পোলারে এখন জিগান তো রুটি গরম না ঠান্ডা?
বাপ রে বাপ, শুনছো নি একেবারে ডর দেয় তো বলে খুশি খুশি করে কাটতো হয়েছে। আপনার ডর আপনার পকেটে থুয়া দেন।
খানদানটা আমার কত উচ্চা দেখতে হইব না?
দেখতেছি তো উঁচা ভি আর লম্বা ভি।
তোমার এই অবস্থা কেলা?
আসলে আব্বা, ও আব্বা, আব্বা
আচ্ছা যা হবার হয়েছে বুঝছো।
সারাদিন যে ধকলটা গেছে গা। মন্টু, হ্যাঁ মন্টু, হ্যাঁ মন্টু।
আমি তো অনাথ হয়ে গেছি গে, একেবারে মনে করেন আমার বাপে আমারে।
এটা কেমন বাট পারি? হ্যাঁ, তোমার আব্বা না খুব কান্দানি আমারে কইছিল কাশি খাওয়া।
বাজান, আরে সকাল সকাল তুমি আয়া পড়ছো, চিল্লা কেমতে?
কি হয়েছে হ্যাঁ? আর থেকে আমনে পর দেখে দেখতেছি ফোনের পিছে লাগা রইছো।
বাজান, তোরা আর একটা বুদ্ধি দিতাছি।
কি হয়েছে আব্বা, আবার কি?
আগে সব কথা হই না লই, তারপর তুই খালাসে যাবি। কবু মা
গেটে দুটো বাইর করে দিচ্ছিলাম।
ল তোর গাড়টি বুঝ ল। সারা জিন্দেগি আমগো খানদানের সত্ত্বে